Whiplash, Craig Mann, Wilkins, and Thomas Curley.
Thank you, Academy, for this honor. We're thrilled to be here.
That is Canadian Craig Mann accepting his Oscar for Best Sound Mixing for the movie Whiplash. The film, if you haven't seen it, tells the story of the relationship between an ambitious young musician and a demanding teacher. Mann shares that award with co-nominees Ben Wilkins and Thomas Curley. Now, the trio also won a British Academy of Film and Television Arts Award, that's a BAFTA, for their work on the movie. And joining me now by Skype with just a few hours of sleep under his belt is Craig Mann, who is in Santa Monica, California this morning. Congratulations. How are you doing on this morning after the night before?
Good morning. Pretty good, all things considered.
You know, we know how important sound was, particularly to Whiplash. I'm wondering if it would be safe to say up in Canada, we could hear the sound of your heart beating when your name was called last night.
Like you couldn't believe, really.
What was it like? Tell me what you know, the first thing that went through your head.
Man, I'm going to have to speak in front of these people. That was pretty much it.
But you did well, and you had your mom and dad down in LA as well. They were watching everything. Were your thoughts on them and how proud they must have been, you know, having you up there on the stage?
I was really happy to be able to share that with them. They were there in the theater with us last night, and it just, you know, it really meant a lot to me to have them there.
Meant a lot for the movie, for sound, because everything was just so tied to it. I think without amazing sound, this movie wouldn't have been as great as it was. And I'm not saying that to blow smoke. I just want to know what some of the pressures were to make it, given the short time, the smaller budget, etc.
You touched on all the things that were really a challenge with this. The time constraints were extreme. The budget constraints were extreme. For a film of this sort of, I guess, scope, it's sort of crazy that we pulled this off, frankly.
Do you have to love jazz? I mean, do you have to love the sound of whatever you're doing in order to do it well? Or is it just, you know, business?
It's just, you know, you kind of tend to be a bit of a chameleon, you know. It could be horror one day, musical the next day, you know, romance the next day. So it really kind of, you sort of become what you need to become.
And it could be all those things now that you've got an Oscar under your belt, could it?
Hopefully so, yeah. You don't know where it's going to take you, really.
Does an Oscar mean tons of money? Like, you know, is it like being, you know, drafted in the NHL and all of a sudden, you know, your bank account just went sky high?
Absolutely not. It's just, I think that especially with the crafts, it's not anything like it is with the actors. I mean, I know my next schedule, we had that laid out for, you know, the next 4 or 5 months, so I know what I'm working on. Suddenly my rate's not going to go sky high or anything like that. It's really a prestigious honor, and it's really humbling to be recognized by by both the peer group and the Academy to have your work recognized. It's really something.
And do you think Canadians will recognize that? You know that we're a little shy when it comes to, you know, being sort of celebrity trackers, if you will, at least less so than perhaps in the States. But are you hoping that, you know, your people, Canadians, know who you are?
It's great, you know. I'd love to, you know, be able to come up there and work. I've never actually mixed a show up in Canada since I started mixing, really. So I've always kind of thought, oh, it'd be great to go back to, you know, up north one time and do a show up there. So you never know what will come from this.
And Craig, let me ask you how you in particular work. You know, it must be very intense. Do you just sort of lock off your brain to just this particular project so that everything else is peripheral to the project?
Yeah, sometimes to the detriment of all other things in life, which is not good. But at that particular show, Whiplash, we actually had 2 shows running concurrently, if you can imagine. There was one show about jazz drumming and another documentary about the Electronic Daisy Carnival, which is a rave festival. So
great.
It was really raving all night and drumming all day. So you can imagine there were some ringing ears at the end of those weeks. Yeah,
you were probably pretty confused, I would imagine, sometimes.
Yeah, more than you can imagine.
Hey, how does a guy from Oakville get to L.A. and then end up at the Academy Awards, you know, holding a gold statue?
I'd say, you know, nearly a 20-year journey probably to get to this point, and just, you know, going everything from music industry arts at Fanshawe College to sound ideas to Casablanca Sound in Toronto to Tattersall Sound in Toronto, and then down to LA after that. So it's really been, you know, my first job was projecting in a movie theater. So it's been kind of just building since I was, you know, in my late teens, I would say.
Sounds like a wonderful journey. I know you can probably taste your fillings. You're so tired, and you've given out a couple of shout-outs already, but is there anyone in particular, other than businesses, is there anyone in your heart that, you know, you want to talk to? Because you were talking to Canada, dude.
Definitely my family is still up there. My sisters, Marnie and Megan, are up there. I know they were watching last night, and we couldn't bring everybody down this time, but it was great to know that they were up there watching and have all my friends up there cheering me on. It was really, it really felt good.
And aren't you glad we didn't start playing music under your shout-out?
Yeah, they did. They said, Burner, bring in the orchestra. Thank you.
No kidding. Listen, congratulations. We're all very happy for you, and I really hope you get to thoroughly enjoy it.
Thanks a lot.
All right, bye-bye.
It's been a great bye.
Canadian Oscar winner Craig Mann joining me live from Santa Monica by Skype.